It's a good idea to listen to your audience. At least that's what I've found to be the case with Dragon Quest XI last year and Nier Replicant this year. I always had interest in trying the Nier series, but my actual knowledge of exactly what the games entailed was limited both by personal choice and because a lot of descriptions of the game are more about the vision and not the application of its mechanics. Thus, I wasn't sure exactly what to expect when trying out Nier Replicant, but found myself thoroughly hooked by the end of the game. The build-up to the revelations and various conclusions to the journey was well worth it and makes me excited to explore more in the future. Here's why I enjoyed Nier Replicant and why you should give the game a chance if you haven't played it before. Nier Replicant is the first Nier game, a spin-off series from the Drakengard games, although creator Yoko Taro regards Nier as still part of Drakengard. The Drakengard games are action RPGs with the original Nier developed by Cavia as its final game as a studio and published by Square Enix. The original Nier was split into two games between its platforms of the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Nier Replicant, the PlayStation game in Japan, starred a younger version of the main character, while the Xbox release and all international releases, titled Nier Gestalt, starred an older version of the main character. The games released in April of 2010 and achieved over 500,000 sales in total, but the reception to the game was mixed at best. The game did, however, spawn a sequel called Nier Automata in 2017, which became a worldwide hit critically and commercially. In 2021, then, a remaster of Nier Replicant was announced for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, developed by Toy Logic and published by Square Enix. This is the version that I played, and the game sold over 1.5 million copies worldwide and improved on its critical scores immensely, going from mixed to generally positive. Nier Gestalt was not remastered though, so the modern remaster stars the younger protagonist from the original Japanese PS3 version. It's clear that the second time was the charm for Nier Replicant. In a future time where a disease has rampaged across Earth and sent much of technology backwards, our player character, Nier, lives along with his sister Yona in a village at medieval technology levels. Yona has the disease the Black Scrawl, an ailment that no one has found a cure for as of yet, but that won't stop Nier from trying. In order to take care of himself and his sister, Nier completes various jobs around town and has developed some martial skills to help fight off the shades that occupy the lands outside of the settlements. One day though, Nier encounters a talking book by the name of Grimoire Weiss, and forms a bond allowing Nier to use some of Weiss's powers called verses. Nier is informed by his helpers/mentors in town, Devila and Popola, that there is a tale about Weiss being the key to restoring peace to the world, and Nier hopes that also means helping to cure Yona. Their adventures take them all over the land, meeting and teaming up with several unique individuals, and always trying to push back against the shades and the rumored Shadow Lord commanding them. Can Nier save Yona? And if so, at what cost? There is a lot more to this story than just that opening premise, but that's part of the appeal of the Nier series and one of the things I really enjoyed about the game. The game has 5 endings, 4 of which were in the original game with the 5th added for the new version, and you are incentivized to go through all of them to reveal exactly what is going on with the world. Every ending offers new insight into the world and then adds in new scenes and perspectives for your next run. And don't worry, while there is some repetition to get new endings, you don't go back all the way to the start, so it is still somewhat efficient. The game, however, wouldn't work even with the intriguing endings if the writing in general wasn't strong, but it undoubtedly is. The cast is on the smaller side, but that gives a lot of focus to really develop each one of the main characters and show their current journey and also how they got to this point to begin with. The world building likewise had significant thought put into it, and you can discover it over your journey from standard places such as dialogue and documents, and also from unconventional areas such as weapon stories. I agree with the people who say that the storytelling of Nier is one of its strongest points. I really came to care for Weiss, Kaine, Emil, Yona, and the others on the journey, and the story's twists and turns through each route only builds upon the excellent work they did to set things up. If you do give Nier Replicant a chance, please make sure to get through all the endings, even if you have to do it via watching on YouTube. The multiple endings and the way the story evolves is the reason that this game is special when it comes to storytelling. On the gameplay side of things, the new game version retains the action RPG combat from the original, but considering that was critiqued heavily in the initial run, it made sense to make some tweaks. Thus, staff from Nier Automata were brought over to adjust the system into a hybrid of Nier's original combat and Nier Automata's system. Most of the time, combat is done from a third-person perspective where Nier can wield one-handed swords initially and two-handed swords and spears later on in the game. You have light and heavy attacks that can either be standard or charged, and you can dodge away from enemies or defend for a chance to parry and make a follow-up attack. Then you have the magical abilities granted to you by Grimoire Vice, which can range in type, but I found the ranged Dark Lance and the spinning blade Dark Whirlwind to be my favorite abilities. While most gameplay sections are third-person, there are several that change up the formula, including some side-scrolling or top-down combat. Not to mention the occasional section that is all text. Doesn't mean you can or should just speed through it though. It took a little while for me to adjust to the combat system, as it didn't have the responsive, quick nature I'm used to in action RPGs like Ys. Once I did get a handle on the system though, I found it quite fun, especially when it came to boss battles. The boss battles are the big test, with strong variety in gameplay design and challenge between them. Some bosses would require you to be dodging bullet hell-esque sequences and require quick thinking and good use of abilities. All of them, though, require timing and good pattern recognition. I don't think I ever encountered a boss battle that felt unfair, which I think is an indication of good design, and that made my victories quite satisfying since I knew I had truly managed to overcome the boss. Standard enemies do thankfully evolve over the game to keep up with your progress and give you some pause as you fight through areas, but especially by the time you're going for endings C and D, you know exactly how to handle them. Not that it's a bad thing though, because at that point the main appeal is getting to the new story stuff, so breezing through combat helps keep the pace flowing. In addition to different weapons and abilities you gain over the course of the game, you also have two ways to improve your battle capabilities. As you fight enemies, you gain access to words which you can equip two of to each ability or weapon you are using that can improve attack power, reduce MP usage, or other similar effects. These can be swapped around in the menu at any time, including during battle, just like you can do with weapons or abilities. Early on, you also gain access to a store in the junk heap area of the game that can upgrade your weapons when given certain items. The first few levels will be pretty easy to get just based on general collection of items from battle, but the highest levels require rare items that you'll need a lot of patience to collect enough of to upgrade them. Thankfully, you should be fine without those if you don't want to spend the time, but the upgrades do also help get more weapon stories to find out more details about the world and such, so there's incentives either way. On top of the main story content, the side content is mostly covered in side quests and the two major side activities, fishing and farming. You do have to do certain side quests in order to get all the endings, but the vast majority of side quests are optional, which is good because they're not great. Most of the side quests are fetch quests that tend to require running around all over the place to collect certain items or talk to people. Some of them are even worse though, and rely on collecting certain rare items that require killing a lot of sheep to collect, let me tell you. My advice? Check the side quest guides and only do the ones necessary for endings or the ones that give additional story scenes. Nothing else is needed. The fishing minigame is nice enough, but not rewarding enough on its own to worry about, although I did enjoy the interactions with the fisher NPC. Lastly, the farming was a brief frustration the few times I tried it, since it's based on real-world time. The side content is one of the areas that Nier Replicant just flat out isn't good at. It's not the end of the world, but I do think it's good to know so you have the information to pick and choose how much or little you engage with it. The biggest changes between the original 2010 version and the 2021 version though comes in presentation. Based on my impression viewing footage of the original, the visual language and style of the original was maintained while enhancing the details and clarity of each scene. I think the landscapes and environments of each area in-game are visually pleasing, and while the game does have a unique hazy filter feel, I think it's appropriate for Nier. The character designs are good as well. You can tell when a character comes from this series because of their distinctive looks, in a good way. The soundtrack has always garnered great praise, so I was really looking forward to hearing it for myself. And I have to agree, the soundtrack gives an ethereal tranquility to the world that is both eerie and nostalgic at times. I don't think there was a single track that I would say is out of place in the slightest, and every track was tonally resonant with its usage throughout the game. The voice acting was another solid area, with across the board excellent performances from the cast, most of whom returned from Nier Gestalt. One of the things that seemed largely unchanged but still holds up quite well is the UI, which is clean and unobtrusive, allowing the player to focus on the more important things happening on screen. On the UX side of things, Nier Replicant does lack certain genre staples such as a generous fast travel system, autosaves, and the like, but it's only a small detriment overall, I'd say. I did encounter some notable frame drops in certain areas, but I believe most performance issues came from my older PC running the game, and none of it negatively affected my playthrough. I obviously can't speak to former fans of the series, but coming into this compared to what I've seen of the original, I think the game was updated brilliantly with regards to presentation. They were able to recreate and improve the visuals, leading to a striking setting accompanied by excellent music and performances from the cast. I have zero qualms about recommending Nier Replicant for players, even those new to the series. The few things that you have to adjust to when it comes to gameplay are easily overcome, and the reward is one of the most unique RPGs out there when it comes to storytelling and a game with satisfying gameplay in the main scenario at least. Couple that with the great visuals and stellar audio on all sides, and Nier Replicant is a great game through and through. I'm grateful I've now gotten the chance to play it, and when the time is right, and my gaming schedule isn't so packed, I'm looking forward to moving on to Nier Automata. Thank you to all of you who voted in my poll to determine the winner. This is why I love doing those polls, because y'all haven't steered me wrong yet. If you enjoyed the video, the lifeblood of this channel comes from all of you taking the time to like the video, share it around, and comment. If you are new here and haven't already, please consider subscribing to keep up with the channel and when I post. It's been a great month for channel growth so far, and I'd love to keep it going. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and happy gaming.